book that has truly shaped generations of thinkers and doers, really a foundational text in personal development.
We are. We're looking at Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it's more than just a book, isn't it? It's really a piece of history, first published way back in 1937.
Right in the middle of the Great Depression.
Exactly. And what makes it so unique, especially for that time, was Hill's research method. He actually sat down and interviewed over 500 successful individuals. We're talking people like Andrew Carnegie.
Wow. Over 500.
Yeah, a massive undertaking. And the book's core, really, it gets into the profound power of our thoughts, personal initiative, and just relentless persistence. These are the keys, he argued, to success and fulfillment.
So our mission here, for you listening, is to pull out the most important insights from this, well, this timeless work. We want to understand its core principles, look honestly at its strengths, and yes, its weaknesses too.
And explore how it's still relevant for your journey, your path towards knowledge and personal achievement.
Exactly. Yeah. We want to give you a solid handle on a book that, let's face it, still influences millions today. So building on that context you just laid out, Think and Grow Rich comes out during this really turbulent time, the Depression. And like you said, it quickly got seen as much more than just a how to get rich book.
Oh, absolutely. It was framed even then as a blueprint for personal achievement, more broadly.
And its origin, as you mentioned in these interviews, distilling wisdom from what, over 500 successful people? That's incredible.
It really is. He took all that knowledge, all those conversations, and basically synthesized it into a systematic framework. He outlined these 13 core principles of success. And what's fascinating here is that these 13 principles, they aren't just, a random list. They form the book's entire framework. It's a systematic approach that Hill believed pretty much anyone could follow to achieve success.
Right, and I think it's that systematic nature, that step-by-step feeling that gives it so much actionable power for readers. Let's maybe dig into a few of those key principles, make them a bit more tangible.
Good idea.
Okay, so first, desire. Hill wasn't talking about just, casually wanting something. He meant this burning, almost obsessive desire for a very specific goal.
Backed by a clear plan and, importantly, unwavering faith.
Exactly. It's that deep psychological commitment, the kind that forces you to keep going, which feels maybe more critical than ever today with all the distractions we face.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's autosuggestion. This is all about using repetition, visualization, essentially programming your subconscious mind for success. Sounds a lot like modern affirmations or visualization practices, doesn't it?
It really does. Very ahead of its time in some ways. And then the mastermind group concept.
Ah, yes. The idea that you amplify your potential by collaborating with like-minded people, sort of like having your own personal board of directors or maybe an accountability group.
Precisely. Synergy, essentially. Yeah. And of course, persistence. This one's huge in the book. Just that continuous effort, even when you hit setbacks, even when you fail.
So important. And he also talks about the sixth sense, not in a mystical way exactly, but more like a highly refined intuition.
That's right, like that gut feeling or pattern recognition that develops through experience. It helps top performers make decisions even when they don't have all the facts figured out.
Okay. And crucially, overcoming fear. He stresses conquering common fears. Fear of poverty, criticism, failure, seeing that as essential for growth.
Absolutely essential.
It really makes you think, how many great ideas maybe fizzled out just because someone gave up one step too soon, held back by fear?
It's a powerful thought. And tying into these principles, he talks about the brain almost like a translator and receiver for ideas.
Or a broadcasting and receiving station.
Yes. And how the subconscious mind is the key to harnessing positive emotions. He really tried to connect that inner world of thought to, the external world of achievement. It's quite a comprehensive philosophy when you look at it all together.
So, okay, this book has had this massive, lasting impact. If you had to pinpoint it, what do you think is the single biggest reason it's resonated for, nearly a century now?
That's a great question. I think its strengths are, pretty profound, and there are a few layers. Firstly, the enduring principles themselves. They focus on fundamental human drivers, mindset, belief, collaboration.
Things that don't really change with technology or the economy.
Exactly. They applied to 1930s industrialists, and they apply to today's tech entrepreneurs. These core human labors, they just remain constant. Then you have the inspirational narratives.
Stories about Ford, Edison.
Right. They're not just filler. They provide really relatable, motivating examples. They make the principles feel achievable. Then there's the deep psychological insight.
Mm-hmm.
The book really digs into how mindset and emotions drive success. It blends self help with, I think, genuinely practical advice on shaping your inner world.
And it feels very action-oriented, right? It's not just philosophy.
Definitely. It gives you a kind of mental toolkit. The step by step nature really encourages you, the reader, to take immediate action toward your goals.
But, okay, like any classic, we have to look at the other side too. It's important to acknowledge that Think and Grow Rich isn't perfect. It has areas that deserve, let's say, critical consideration.
Absolutely. And this raises an important question, especially looking back from today. What are the acknowledged weaknesses? One point often raised is a lack of concrete examples, particularly financial.
Right. It tells you how to think, but maybe not precisely what to do with your money in a modern context.
Kind of. It's strong on philosophy, less so on specific actionable financial strategies for today's world, which might leave some readers wanting more practical how-to guidance. Another point is the repetitive content.
Yeah, I've heard that. Some ideas get hammered home like that.
They do. For some readers, that repetition can feel redundant. Slow the pace down. Also, the dated context is just, well, undeniable.
It was written in the 1930s.
Exactly. Some examples, some of the language. It can feel outdated, maybe less directly applicable to today's digital economy and, different social structures.
Makes sense.
And finally, there is what some see as an overemphasis on mindset. The intense focus on positive thinking is powerful, but critics argue it might sometimes undervalue the very real impact of external factors.
Like economic conditions, systemic issues, or even just luck.
Precisely. Mindset is a powerful tool. Hill argues it's the main tool, but it's probably not the only one in the toolbox. But, if we connect this to the bigger picture,
Yeah.
despite those valid points, the book's impact has been just monumental. Over 100 million copies sold worldwide. That's staggering.
It really is.
And it's widely cited even today as a foundational text for so much modern success literature. It's influenced generations of entrepreneurs, leaders, people in all sorts of fields all across the globe.
A really interesting specific example of that global reach is its popularity in India.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Apparently, in a culture where ambition and self-improvement are really highly valued, this book strikes a deep chord with young professionals, aspiring business owners.
That makes sense. The message of dreaming big, persisting through challenges, that's pretty universal.
It seems so. It's a real testament to that universal appeal.
And that core emphasis on mindset, it hasn't just stayed in the book. It's significantly fueled the whole industry of goal-setting workshops, motivational seminars.
You see echoes of it everywhere.
Absolutely. It's really shaped a culture of self-belief and resilience that you see in so many modern programs aimed at helping people achieve more.
So the takeaway for you, listening right now at today's world, which is undeniably competitive, its relevance is still incredibly high. That mental strength, that persistence, those champions.
They're absolutely essential.
Essential for navigating and overcoming the obstacles you're bound to face on your own journey. So to kind of wrap up our deep dive here, Think and Grow Rich really stands as this powerful guide. It underscores that profound link between your thoughts, your actions, and ultimately your achievements. It might not give you, say, a detailed financial plan for 2024, but it's psychological insights, it's motivational framework.
Yeah.
They still make it an invaluable resource for personal growth, professional growth.
Especially, I'd say, if you combine it with practical, up-to-date knowledge that's specific to your field or your goals.
Good point.
Right.
It's a foundation, maybe not the whole building.
Well put. And as you, the listener, reflect on these powerful principles Hill laid out, maybe consider this. Applying these lessons isn't really about just rigidly following a set of rules from 1937.
Right. It's got to be more dynamic than that.
Exactly. It's about thoughtful, critical adaptation. How do these ideas fit your unique circumstances, your goals, and the constantly changing landscape of success today? What parts of Hill's blueprint truly resonate with you right now, and how might you integrate them smartly into your own modern strategy?